We're learning some pretty devastating news surrounding one big striker that is now off the market this summer. However, we may be turning our attentions to some raw, exciting talents as a replacement. Today, my friends, we have some big transfer news and club news to get through, so I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button, show your love, and share your thoughts and opinions. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get straight into things. And now let's discuss today's big reveal surrounding the future of Benjamin Sesko, because sadly he is off the market this season as he has agreed a contract extension with improved terms with RB Leipzig. Now RB Leipzig have been pushing for a very long time to persuade Sesko to remain here for the sake of his development, and personally I have to admit this, I think Sesko and his team have most likely made the right, responsible decision at remaining at RB Leipzig. Now, the good news is, at least similar in deals to, Nkunku, Gvardiol, where they signed contract extensions, there were gentlemen agreements included in those extensions. So we don't know how much this valuation is, but we do know that there is going to be a set amount for the summer 2025 and summer 2026. You'd imagine that maybe Sesko has agreed to realistic terms in his contract. Let's see what happens. But personally, I think it's best for him to remain here. He only started to announce himself as a first team regular during the second half of last season. I think if you're a talent like Sesko that has that potential to be one of the leading number 9s across Europe, you have to start setting yourselves those professional goals right. You have to become the top scorer in the Bundesliga. I think if you achieve little personal goals like this, that will boost your ranks within Europe, and you're set to attract the interest of many top clubs as well. So I think Sesko is best for him to remain there, improve his overall game, improve his aerial game, small aspects and details like that, because RB Leipzig is one of the best finishing schools in Europe for top level talents. If he technically signed for us, I think he would be good. I don't think he'd necessarily set the world on fire, but I feel like at the moment, with the opportunity you have in your hands, stay with Leipzig, stay in that environment that you're comfortable with teammates that know your game, become more dominant in the Bundesliga, and then plan for the next stage in your career in the next 1 to 2 years. So in the meantime, we're going to really pay attention to him for Slovenia in this summer's Euros, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. And personally, for a talent like this, I could even wait for another year without signing any striker and try and come in again the following season. So that's the Sesko news out of the way. And my friends, let us know right now, what striker do you think we should go for in this window? And now we move on to the second big story today, courtesy of The Telegraph and Mr. Matt Law, as he reveals that we are stepping up our interest to sign Aston Villa's young 20-year-old Colombian forward in Jhon Duran. Now, as we know, in January, we tried to make a move to try and sign him, and the player, of course, is very, very excited at the possibility to sign for us. As you guys are seeing on screen, this is an example of Duran's social media activity, where he's literally liking every Chelsea-related post left, right and centre. He doesn't care, he's a character, and I'll discuss him later on. But in the meantime, the club have shown a lot of interest, long-term interest in this striker, ever since Aston Villa first signed him from the MLS from Chicago Fire. Now, they signed him for around £18 million, and you think to yourself, Nini, yes, the guy's a great promise, he is exciting, but he's going to cost us a ton of money, right? With Aston Villa needing to abide by profit and sustainability rules. At the moment, they must sell players to be able to spend money on buying players, hence why we're currently seeing Douglas Luiz now being very close to completing a move to Juventus, with our former youth winger in Illing Jr. and Weston McKennie going in the opposite direction. They're very open to doing business like this, and in the meantime, they're hoping that they can entice Conor Gallagher to sign for them now that they have Champions League football, with Duran going in the opposite direction. Now, last season, Duran scored 7 to 8 goals, but in terms of actual starts, he only started 3 games in the Premier League, and he made 20 substitute appearances. He had more luck in the Conference League and in cup games, but Villa didn't progress too far in them outside of the Conference League. So he is the definition of a raw striker, because if you solely judge by some of the goals he scored, I mean, this guy has an absolute rocket of a long shot, and it kind of reminds me as strikers like this always do, of Adriano back in the day. Pure laces, pure power, pure technique. I think the guy is a good finisher. But in the meantime, if we have these ambitions to become like a title challenging team for next season, is signing a raw striker like Duran helping us in our efforts to make that happen? I think stylistically there are similarities between the forwards we're looking at. If Osimhen is like the number one type of like powerful advanced forward, then I think Sesko would be number 2, and I think number 3 would be a Jhon Duran. It seems like Aston Villa are open to letting him go because they know that the player wants to leave to sign for us. He is not hiding his ambitions for us, but he does seem to be a bit of a character, with many people at Aston Villa, including teammates, the manager, mentioning that this guy has phenomenal potential, great finishing ability, but then sometimes it can be a bit of a nightmare to work with, but not a nightmare in like a negative sense. Here's what John McGinn had to say about his teammate. As he says, Big John, he's a bit nuts. He's a nightmare sometimes to have in your team, but he has moments of quality. We need to try and keep his feet on the ground the next couple of days. John don't have a Scooby about who the teams he's playing against are. He does not have a clue. I mean, John, I don't even think he knows he's actually in the city of Birmingham. Never mind who Duran are, but he's such a raw player. Some days you think, what a good boy. Some days you think, come on big man, have a bit more respect. But he has everything to be one of the top strikers in the world, and hopefully he can do that here. So he is the definition of youthful exuberance, rawness, and a lack of maturity currently at his very young age. But let's focus on the football. Let's focus on the potential he has, because if this was like, I don't know, Football Manager, if it was a 5-star rating, I'd imagine that his current ability would be more like 2 out of 5. And maybe his future ability could be like 4 out of 5 star, because looking at his stats quickly on FBref, he's taking a lot of boxes we're gonna like. Number 1, this guy is unrelenting with his pressing duties off the ball. He don't slack. He's very good aerially as well too. Like, he can back into a defender, he can pin them, and he's got that potential to get even better, even more refined at that part of his game. But you're looking at things like aerials 1, you know, nearly like 4 a game, 86th percentile, clearances, you know, 1.89, tackles, things like non-penalty goals, shot totals. Like, the guy is not afraid to take shots out of the box. Sometimes I actually think maybe the stats don't even reflect the actual rawness in his game, because maybe he's taking more shots than he has to. He's forcing it more than he has to, instead of releasing it to a teammate, instead of finding someone else instead of finding the most optimum outcome. But he does have exciting raw attributes where, if we really have that confidence where we feel like we can hone this guy, we can refine him, we can take his current game to that next level, and being in an environment here where there's more of like a Latin American influence, where he could settle in the country a lot more, you know, maybe we're the best club for him for this current stage of his development. That's one way of seeing things, and maybe the club think there's no risk in taking a punt on Jhon Duran, because realistically, we're not signing any big money striker this summer. Our best chances of doing so will be for the following summer, maybe the year after that. So if we have Nicholas Jackson, who's still improving, still developing, now we have Nkunku coming back. If we add another attacking player to add more goals from different positions in this team, whilst giving an opportunity for a year to see how Duran develops with us, if he can even come in with like 5 to 10 goals, that tells us that there's something here that can be worked upon, and there is potential to unlock. So yeah, that's my opinions on this big story today. How do you guys feel about things? As I said in the first story, I'll say it again, but what will you do with the striker position this summer? Are you signing someone new, or do you keep what we have? Let us know below. And my friends, on that note, we now end things with the final story today. Now we discuss another big club update surrounding one of the most talented young players within Cobham, and his name is 15-year-old attacking player in Rio Ngumoha. Now, there are some positive news that have been revealed today by The Athletic, and they suggest that now the club is growing more optimistic that they may be able to keep Ngumoha and get him to sign a contract extension, because I think a week ago it was revealed that Ngumoha, his family and his team were considering their options, as he's currently attracting so much interest from big clubs in this country, but most importantly, big clubs across Europe. I think when you have talents like this in your academy, we must respect them, because I think it's too easy for us to forget that when you're one of the top talents in Cobham, which is one of the top academies in Europe and in the world, that is a massive achievement in itself. And Rio Ngumoha, at 15 years old, has already trained with the first team. He's already been playing under 18 minutes, and he's one of the third youngest players in our club's history when it comes to featuring for the under-21s at 15 years old. This guy isn't just anybody. As you guys have seen for yourself on screen, he does look like a Jamal Musiala regen. We made a mistake by not being able to secure one of the best young talents in the world at our club. We can't make this mistake again. I think it's very fair for his parents and his team to maybe reflect about whether we are still the best club for his future, considering our priority in signing top talents from across the world. Now, Kendry Pires, Esteval Willian, these are two talents we can't say no to. But that doesn't mean there isn't space for Rio Ngumoha. He's 15 years old. It's up to the club now to show him and his family, we believe in you, we trust your talents, we still believe in the best talents within our academy coming through and being featured, and I think they must make an offer that reflects that. Top talents like this command top money. It's how it works. We offer top money towards guys like your Christensens, your Loftus-Cheeks, your Hudson-Odois. Before Musiala even left to go to Bayern Munich, we offered him one of the third biggest contracts in Cobham history to try and entice him to remain, but Bayern Munich offered more money. So when us fans hear about finances and contracts, we can't be getting all insecure as if it's money coming out from our own pockets. It's how the game works at this level. And I say this because I think it sends a terrible message that if your top talents are questioning their long-term careers and futures here, why would other top talents want to remain here? I feel like recently we've made that mistake of allowing too many top prospects to leave for nothing. And it's not like we're even getting financially compensated for their sales, because many of them are leaving when they're 17, 18 years old for pastures new. And that's money we're missing out on. And I think to myself, what is the point? Because there is going to be a reality where once we sell all the Cobham grads this summer, who do we have to replace them? Who's next on that conveyor belt that can bring in 20 million, 30 million, 40 million? They don't exist. So to maintain that balance, because I see it as an ecosystem, a balance where, you should have places for your top young prospects. You should have places for other players that will probably get sold on, because I'm not stupid. Not everyone's going to make it here. You need to have places for your top transfer buys, all that stuff. That balance can be created, it can be found, and I think we must make sure we create this now, because we can't undermine one of the best things about this club in our academy, because without this academy, most of the players we're signing, most of the business we've done over the years does not exist without the sales of big talents that are being sold to top 5 divisions in Europe. It's not like 10, 15 years ago, but most of these guys were going to League 1, League 2, or even non-league football. The level has risen that high now, and to keep that healthy eco balance going, it involves making sure that there are pathways in your system, in your setup, for players like Rio Ngumoha to have a chance. Not to be guaranteed a spot, but to feel that confidence that they have a chance that if, with all their hard work, with all their training, if they perform well on top 2, they can make it here. And knowing that he's only 15 years old, not even signing his first pro deal, realistically we can wait another 3 to 5 years to see whether he can be a first team player. But if we can have so much faith and confidence in teenagers from South America, we should also have that confidence in prestigious talents like Rio Ngumoha, because this kid isn't just any kid that is like a dime a dozen in this game. So they're my thoughts and opinions. At least there's some promising news around Rio. There you have it, my friends. That's all the reports today, and there should be another video coming out later tonight, so make sure you guys have those notification buttons on to not miss a beat. So my friends, I'm Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. See you guys all soon. Cool.